Mayor Truman.
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
Councilmember Shervin.
Here.
Councilmember Reed. Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Daniels.
Here.
Councilmember Evans. Councilmember Stam.
Here. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this incredible day that you've given us and the opportunity to gather and to give insight and leadership to our community. Lord, I pray blessing over this council. May they walk in a unity and a favor and a grace. And thank you for all that you're doing in Valley Center and for the days that are ahead of us. Be glorified tonight, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Get a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the approval of the council minutes from February 17th. Any questions or changes on that? Got a motion to approve?
Move to approve the minutes of February 17th, 2026, regular council meeting as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the council minutes from February 17th. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving down to presentations and proclamations. The insurance guys are here tonight. Or Clint? This yours? Or, oh, she just, okay.
I'm Christy Kirchert with the Insurance Guys, and we are here to present your dividend check from EMC. It's the rare time that insurance company wants to give you some money. So they're presenting a dividend check of $27,514.84.
That got my name on it? Oh.
Got the city, but
Well, it looks like you ought to be giving that to Clint then. He ought to be up there. And we thank you. Moving on to public forum. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda? Okay, moving on to appointments. We don't have business, old business. Moving on to new business. Resolution 80826, authorization of the sale of bonds and notes.
Good evening, Council. Thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Clayton Kelly with Piper Sandler, financial advisor to the city. There is an action item this evening, and I recognize that there's a couple of new council members. So I know you're kind of typical, see me just breeze through this. I'm going to spend a little bit more time just kind of explaining it in the action necessary, but essentially it's a sale resolution that allows us to move forward with securing interest rates for a bond financing and a temporary note financing. In your packet, there's a list of projects. I won't go through each one, but essentially the temporary note financing, this action item authorizes us to finance the projects for Amber Ridge, also known as Trails End Edition Phase 2, Arbor Valley Phase 2, Prairie Lakes Phase 5, and Veilpoint Edition Phase 1. So there are several different types of projects within each of those benefit districts. But essentially, the reason we use the temporary note mechanism for those projects is they provide infrastructure, the financing for the infrastructure for those benefit districts. Once the infrastructure is complete, we essentially take the final cost for each of those projects, and we move forward with permanent bond financing. So this is the first step, temporary note financing for those projects. We typically finance that over a 3 to a 4 year period. In this case, it's a 3.5 year temporary note financing. What that does is it allows those projects to essentially be completed before any payment is due. We actually don't require any payment outside of what is funded within the financing until we go to permanently finance once the projects are complete. So those are paid back once we permanently finance those through special assessments. So that's how those get repaid, special assessments to the properties within those benefit districts for the cost that's being financed. So that's kind of the first step. The first financing is related to the temporary notes. The second financing that's authorized through the action item this evening is for the bond financing. And this is for prior tax increment financing projects that was initially authorized back in 2021. Again, we did a similar process that we're doing with the special assessment projects, temporary note financing for the TIF projects to allow the cash flows to come in through the tax increment financing. And then essentially we are now locking in the permanent financing of that since we have finalized cost that will be repaid through the tax increment financing district. So a little unique financing mechanism for that. But essentially what the action item does tonight is allow us to move forward with securing final interest rates. The timing of that will be April 7th. So the morning of April 7th, we will essentially receive bids from different banks for purchase and securing final interest rates for the temp note, as well as for the bond financing. We'll come back that evening, have the results. Typically, we put together like a bid summary, so you're able to see the different banks that bid on the temp note and the bond financing, and essentially authorize the resolutions that locks everything in with final interest rates, final debt service schedules, when we move forward and have those final rates on April 7th. That allows for closing of the funds for the temp note projects to be available on April 23rd, and closing for the bond that permanently finances this first portion of the TIF project. There's also this Seneca portion that is still outstanding that will be permanently financed at a later date on April 23rd. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Questions or comments? Not, thank you. Got a motion to approve?
I move to approve Resolution 808-26, authorizing the sale of general obligation bonds and temp notes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 808-26. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to item B, award the bid for the Veilpoint Phase 1.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brent Clark with SCH. Hope you're all having a fantastic March so far. Before you this evening is the award of bid for Veilpoint here in Valley Center. That's a subdivision that's located just to the east of the interurban, just to the west of where Goff Street ends and dead ends there. So we'll be extending Goff with asphalt concrete continuing on throughout the subdivision. We had 4 qualified bidders, great interest in this project. And it is our recommendation from SCH to go with the lowest qualified bidding amount of $2,433,713.90 and award it to Meese Construction. I'll stand for any questions.
No questions from the council. We have a public comment, though, from the public. that'd like to address the council? Stanley?
That is actually in.
And Stan's our developer.
Yes, I'm one of them.
Sorry, I didn't know you filled that out.
Okay. Any other comments?
And I would add a note on this one, just like the last one, that the letter of credit has not been received yet. They're still going through the appraisal process with their lender, and so it'd be contingent upon receiving the letter of credit. And I believe that that's written into staff recommendation that is in your packet.
Gina?
Tell me again, where is Veilpoint? East of Interurban?
Yep. So interurban, that continues by Wheatland Elementary. It turns into that township road where the gravel kind of starts. It's over by one of our well houses, or sorry, one of the city's well houses. That's a, sorry, still transitioning. One of the well houses. And so it's that triangular shape that is in that area. Bob White subdivision came in, and that's just the north. Yep. And that's still in the county. This is that ground that was voluntarily annexed into the city because the developers wanted utility extensions and have it be a part of the city. And so at some point, we hope to extend that township road on interurban to the entrance, the south entrance, the north entrance, and other phases. But for right now, the main entrance will be coming off of Goff.
Senator, was this what you sent us the email? You want to address that for us, please?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. So as you guys are aware, there was a letter received to you from another bidder. I think you have the information on that. I think that basically centers around the question on whether or not Valley Center is going to continue to consider looking at concrete options over asphalt options. I also think that I've shared a concern there about our financial output and where we're looking. And since we don't have some final conclusions on some of those decisions, I am not sure today where the council stands on incurring those additional charges for concrete, even though we are completely aware that's a better product. So since you have that information, I would basically just stand for any questions, if I can clarify any of those issues or the inquiry that you did receive from the additional bidder.
Were these bids both concrete and asphalt? I didn't take a real good look at it.
Yes, and so the alternate item was concrete. And so we've historically, the city has bid or wanted the engineering firms to bid asphalt and concrete to see which one. Sometimes it made sense to go, concrete. Sometimes it made sense to go asphalt. It was really dependent upon the location, kind of the characteristics of the area. If you recall, I know some of the new council members weren't on yet, but I'm sure that the Public Works Director, Mr. Eggleston here, will support that. We did asphalt in Prairie Lakes Phase 3, Prairie Lakes Phase 5. We decided to do Prairie Lakes Phase 4 in concrete because it was going to be coming off of a concrete Seneca and concrete infrastructure that the city was putting in. We did asphalt in Arbor Valley. We just awarded at the last meeting an asphalt road as well. And then a lot of the main corridors are, arterial street or main corridors have been concrete just with the amount of truck traffic on Ford Street, truck traffic on Meridian. And so it varies. There isn't really a set standard. It's something that your Public Works Director and your city administrator kind of convene on and decide. Now, when it comes to the extra financial obligation, if you do recall in those conversations, the decision was kind of made to look at potentially using some of the county sales tax money that is received annually to help offset the difference between asphalt and concrete. And so with the additional valuation increase, of course, that means that the City of Valley Center receives more road fund money from the sales tax that the county receives. And so that is what is set to kind of help offset some of these additional financial obligations of asphalt to concrete.
Thank you. Is there any other discussions from the council? Any questions? Any? Okay. Ben?
If we have our choice, obviously, this council has shown that we prefer concrete for the longevity. However, with our financial situation, I think that the asphalt is a very suitable product in this instance. That's just my opinion on it.
And that is the developer's preference.
Yeah,
Was worth Councilmember Anderson.
that's my feeling also. My feeling also is heavy traffic roads, we'd look at concrete, but residentials, keep them asphalt. Okay, well, we have no other questions or comments. Let's ask for approval
I
then.
move to accept the bid for Veilpoint Phase 1 improvements to Meese Construction, Inc. in the amount of $2,433,713.90 contingent on receipt of a letter of credit and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to award the bid for Veilpoint Phase 1. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, item C, WAMPO 27 through 2030, call for projects.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. It is that time to make some decisions as to whether or not the city is going to put in the hat to have for consideration on the award of a WAMPO project, which of course those are not guaranteed. They are competitive in nature, but we would have to make a decision to apply by this Friday if we're going to be considered in this next round. They do put in every 2 years, they approve the next round of TIF projects, and it is that time. I did send in the packet some of the different options that can be considered, some of the things that I want you to remember. And in fact, I'm going to preface just a little bit. You're probably going to hear me talk an awful lot about our bond debt and our obligations that we're kind of coming into recently, which is why administration did not have an objection to asphalt over concrete at this time. And it's also going to be why you might see some different suggestions taking place here. You're going to hear me talk a lot about where we're at financially, probably in the next year. I want to compliment Clint and all the work that he's doing in the research that he has been undertaking to look at various models to get us through some of these debt obligations, which we do understand that a lot of them are covered by specials, but there is still a balancing act to manage these debt loads until the developments really come online. And that's something that we're really trying to manage through financially very well. So you're going to see me throw a lot of cautions out there until we solidify where we really stand with some of these debt obligations. And tonight's going to be no different. As we present some of these options to you, you're going to see me caution a little more toward the cautionary financial side rather than just promoting always to kind of go and get another bond to do some of this work. With that being said, in that email, in your packet, you did have some options. What some of the projects that are allowable to apply for on this round of the WAMPO. And it looks like, I'm gonna say them out loud really quick. The 69th Street Bridge is one. Now what you can see there, again, just to be very clear, even though it states it here, these are not exact numbers. These are not the numbers that would apply on the dates that we would do the project, because that would actually be several years from now. These are some snapshot numbers prepared by PEC for you to kind of look at tonight. So you can have a ballpark idea on what these projects would cost and what our match commitment would be. Because obviously, even though we would be very blessed to apply, and if we received award funding, there's an amazing amount of grant funding that's available there to the city, but there's also a match requirement every time that's not a small number. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. So again, the project list, 69th Street Bridge, just over $2 million. Meridian from 7th to 93rd. Seneca from 61st to 69th. Main Street, which is like BNSF, from BNSF to Colby, and then Seneca 69th to 77th. I'm going to let Rodney come up here in just a minute and talk a little bit about an alternate option. And he's going to kind of let you know that in weighing out the priority need of condition of these different projects, we certainly zeroed in on the Seneca 61st to 69th being the one that probably needs the, I would use two words, most attention and immediate attention. I did take a cruise down that thanks to Rodney and realized right away that it does need some attention. So let's talk about funding for a minute. So you know kind of what you have to work with, because again, council can certainly redirect me, but at present, you're going to see me start to shift away from how can we do this and incur more debt to how can we actually pay for some things and manage what we have, kind of a different financial view and a different strategy there. Redirect me if you'd like, but that's kind of where you'll see me always kind of lead to take us in the next year or so. So let's talk about the funding. In the street budget, there is about $400,000 budgeted every year for a project of some kind or projects of some kind. And there is some cash in the fund. I mentioned that because it might become relevant here in just a minute. So again, when you're looking at how to pay for our match portion on some of these projects, we do have some funding that we could start to save to put toward a match commitment in a later year. And then, of course, there's always the option of doing things a little bit differently, which is what Rodley's going to kind of come up and talk to you just a little bit about. Gage might even want to weigh in just a little bit about as we're weighing the scales of how do we restructure this and maybe look at different ways of doing things. And then we're going to focus in on Seneca and provide a different option to you rather than just applying as a WAMPO project. And I'll let Rodney kind of take it from there.
Senator mentioned in this time we're looking at a lot of different options. We have looked at this option for Seneca a couple different times. Basically what it is a remove and replace, take up all the surface that's on there. There's essentially zero base underneath that road at all. It's basically over dirt. So basically they would rip up everything that's there, dig it down, put in, according to our standards, put in 6 inches of crushed concrete base and then lay 5 inches of asphalt over the top of that. Now, we have done projects similar to this in town. Just in 2024, we did Sheridan Court where we laid down same type of asphalt base with 3 inches of asphalt on top. We did Sheridan Court, we did Palos Verdes Court, and we did Palos Verdes Circle in that way. Just last year, as you recall, 3rd Street, we ended up having to tear it all up. We did the same thing. We laid 6 inches of rock base, laid 5 inches of asphalt on top of that. Now, that is a little different. There's curb and gutter down both sides of that road. That curb and gutter is very, very useful in holding that asphalt together. But as you know, you go out in the county, you'll see asphalt roads out there with no curb and gutter. We so appreciate PEC being our engineers, and we utmost respect for their suggestions and recommendations. And this is going somewhat against their recommendation because there's some concern about drainage and the longevity of this fix. If that water can come back up and not get off of the road properly, whether this would last a long time or not. I feel within our financial state, I feel and my staff feel that this is a viable option. And fairly certain we could get this done for sizable amount less than just the match for the WAMPO. So we would be able to pay for this through cash. As you all know, this Seneca Road has been a problem for many years, and it is unsafe now. It's too safe. So
Dan?
You want to chime in there, Gage?
I have a question to ask that Gage may be able to answer also
Yes, sir.
while we're doing this. So the fix that they are proposing would would last approximately, what's the lifespan of that versus what Rodney's is proposing? Because that's something I think we need to enter into the decision-making.
I don't want to misspeak. I could talk to Christy and see if she has longevity. I mean, I just was going to throw out a little more clarification on the two options. Rodney kind of explained of just removing in kind, removing and replacing in kind. You're not regrading anything. That is floodplain area, water sets. So likely the reason that the road's in the condition it is freeze thaw cycles. So yes, it would be a cheaper option in the fix. Longevity, I'd have to get you an approximate timeline. Educated guess. The other thing to consider, just to expand on the full fix, regrading, fixing drainage, getting water off the surface. Like Sandra mentioned, this is going to be 2029, 2030 timeframe for the WAMPO funding. Commit to the full project, full fix. Road's not getting replaced correctly tomorrow. Still going to have a couple years in there of maintenance. That's something else I just wanted to mention.
The other item on your list up there is the 69th Street Bridge. This is another item that's been on the list and needing attention. I have two of them up there that need attention fairly immediately. One that I feel needs attention right now. And to this cash basis, the idea is maybe we can be laying some money back toward one of these.
Ron?
Yeah, Rodney, just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
When serving on the WAMPO board, one thing I did learn that we don't turn any money down at all. It can always, once it comes up for a final vote, you can change your mind. On this here, the 69th Street Bridge was one of the key projects that I wanted to get through. And if they're willing to do this here, I think we should go through these separately, or should we go through as all four for WAMPO?
And that's certainly the council's decision. As Gage said, if we do this, if we decide to do this with Seneca, the project won't get started till 28 or 29.
Right, yeah.
Jeannie?
So I have a question for Gage. So that road has been like that and underwater, well, since I picked up Chris from the babysitter when he was 3. So for 35 years, it's been like that. And the suggestion that Rodney has seems to be plausible, but if it's a patch and we're back to having to make more decisions in 6 years, 7 years, because we're having issues with it, then I think we should pause and think about that. But also, is there a balance between all curbs and gutters and drains and maybe, well, I'm going to use Ridge Road as an example, where they have the wide shoulder that kind of helps hold the concrete, because those roads don't have curb and gutter, but they are graded to drain. Would there be a happy medium between what Rodney's suggesting and?
I would need to go back and verify with the estimate, but I don't think that includes curb and gutter. That is still asphalt, shoulders, graded with ditches.
This one is?
Right.
Okay, so that's not what that's just, but graded appropriately
Correct.
for drainage. Because that is evidently in the flood zone. There's a lot of water that stays.
I would say, come pull all that out. Rock base that isn't there now. By that there will be a proper crown in the road. It's not actually grading the way he's saying, but proper crown in the road try to help shed the water off when they.
Well, we kind of tore the road up. All of us did because Meridian was out of order for so long. So we all had to drive up and down that road.
Not me, I only did it once.
There's that.
If I could add just a little bit, I want to be clear on a couple of things. Even though we're trying to be financially conscious, we don't want to jeopardize quality. We certainly don't want to jeopardize where Valley Center is headed and the community that we're trying to build here. So there is enough suggestion on the table that this is a potential fix, and it is a potential fix that would get done sooner than rolling the dice on a WAMPO project, knowing that we don't even know that it would get funded, but if it did, we would be several years out. So again, this was more of a potential of we could fix this problem sooner. Hopefully, and you got to look at your investment value. You're spending less, and I can't play years no more than Gage can. We don't know if it's going to last 10 years, 15 years, or 20. We don't know that. That's the roll of the dice, and that's why we're in front of you, because it's a risk level with this investment. But it is something that we can do without bonding. It is something that we can do sooner for the safety of the citizens. And then we could potentially still get another project kind of on the books by looking at what then is the second most priority project, so that we could apply still on this round, get the application in by Friday, and start building for the match, giving us time to start building a cash value for that match and still get a couple projects done. Because again, we're not trying to jeopardize where we're headed and what we're trying to accomplish in Valley Center. We're trying to do it in a different way. But being very clear, there's risk involved. There's risk involved with this investment. And that's why we wanted to talk to you guys and make sure, is this something that you want to consider? I know Rodney and Gage are going to have a better feel of this area. I don't know your roads yet, and I don't know your flooding conditions yet, though I'm learning they're severe. But, I guess you'd have to look at some of the other streets that we have done a full reclamation on in-house. And is this something you think that we can do there with the amount of money that would take, and by the amount of years we're hoping that it would at least buy, which may not be a 30, 40 year fix, but it could buy something and get it done sooner? Or we roll the dice and you just want a full fix out there, and we apply for this Seneca Street for WAMPO, and we wait and we do it in 29 or 30. Those are options.
We also got to consider the man hours we use patching that road. Man hours and material, because I know every time it rains, we got to go out and patch it because it just blows everything out. And at least that one area there on the north end was really bad. So I think if we can fix that before we wait for WAMPO money, I think we put our WAMPO money in on something else. But let's see who we got. Ben.
Go ahead and let Matt go first.
Okay, Matt.
Well, I lost what I was going to say. We had the same situation in Derby where the roads were just about the same, and Endell come in and almost put down it's almost like a slurry seal. They patched the bad areas, then they put down this, it's got a name. I can't think of what it's called, but it's held up pretty good. And it's the same, it's open ditches, but I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. It was a special thing they had just done, and I can't remember what it's called. If I stop thinking of it, I'll think of it.
Well, I can attest that we did that on Elm Street. Just patched it, and it doesn't look like it's even been worked.
Again, that's another situation. where
Yeah,
we
it
don't
had
have
no base. Had no base. It looked like a pretty road for about a month, and then the trash truck started. And it didn't look like it's ever been fixed now, but except where we go in and patch it. And that's man hours we're wasting, I think, because on a road it should have been, good. So.
Councilmember Stam, I know of some other communities, terminology, Rodney and I are figuring out terminology is a little different everywhere, But I think I know the slurry combination that you're talking about that actually mixes some concrete with the
Yep.
material.
They would actually grind up what was there and it'd go back down. And
Yeah,
it's
I
lasted
have
pretty
seen
good.
that. And I've actually been watching that for the last 3 years in another community to see how it holds up. I wouldn't necessarily say I recommend it for this location of the amount of travel on it, but I do think that I'm watching this other community to see how that holds up because it has looked like a viable option.
Also like roller compacted concrete. I wish we'd start using that more. That's
Who's next? Eric.
I would say from a Valley Center School District Department of Transportation standpoint, the sooner something could be done there, the better. Luckily, we don't have a lot of buses that travel down that road for students, but anytime there's a train stopped at 61st Street or 69th Street, our only access to get east and west is to take Seneca, over to Interurban and back, unless they're both blocked. So we do have to drive that way more than we would like. And it's probably just a matter of time until we do some serious damage to a bus going down that road. I've driven it plenty of times myself in a bus, and it's pretty nasty.
Gina?
It seems that when we talked about the capital improvements, that the 69th Street Bridge was considered dangerous. Is that just faulty memory?
It's not to that point yet. The last bridge rating, it was rated like a high poor. It's not dangerous yet. It's not to the point of being closed, but it needs some work. To clarify this, there are two 69th Street bridges in Valley Center. This is the one just east of South Seneca. So this is one on the east side of Meridian. This is that. PEC is going to start our bridge inspections again here in April, correct, sir? Yep. So we do that biannual, but every 2 years. And so that will be coming around again. I don't think it's to that point yet, Gina.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, it needs some work. I
Okay.
would say that, in my opinion, that would be one.
Would make sense to me, just from what I'm hearing tonight, to do the Seneca Street in-house and go to WAMPO for money for the bridge. My opinion. And then, yeah, right, not mine.
Dan?
All right, I have a few questions. Rodney, your proposal is, when you say in-house, does that mean we manage the project? We're still having construction company build it,
We'll
right?
manage
Okay,
it.
I just
We'll
wanted to
put it out for
clarify
bid.
that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought that's what you were saying. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
One of the things that I want to caution the council about is I've been on council for 13 years and we've been told that you do not turn down WAMPO money because the second you turn it down, you start losing future projects because they're not sure if you're going to accept. So I think we need to make sure we're putting forward things that we want to have done. And I think from my standpoint, the best option is for us to do Seneca in-house, put the bridge that is the next most important thing on there and remove the other two. And if we don't get awarded, we don't get awarded. But I don't want to put other things on there and have something get awarded and then us still have.
Let me make a point of clarification. I'm glad that you mentioned that. These items being on this list, this is actually good. This is the list, and Gage can probably elaborate on that better than I can, but this is the list of items that we've already got kind of in the queue, but they aren't actually being considered until we apply on Friday.
Okay.
They just stay there on the list of
Okay.
items that we're allowed to apply for.
I got you.
So we're good in that respect. I'm glad you made that point. Because I didn't know if maybe that wasn't making sense with them all being listed, but that's just the items, the project items we can apply out of. And then those just stay there because remember, they do this every 2 years. So in another 2 years, there will be another opportunity to apply for some of the other items that
Okay.
are remaining, which again, some of them they all have merit and need.
Right.
The Main Street project, there can be a lot said for that as well, and for our community and for economic development. So things I want to be very clear about tonight. Staff, again, I repeat a lot because I just want to be so clear. Staff is certainly not trying to convince you to take this alternate option. We wanted to provide options, but be very clear on the risk levels. If you are looking for a 40-year fix, then, I mean, Gage and PEC, they know how to do this in a way that you're going to get a long-term impact for your investment. And he's very clear about that. And I respect his recommendation on that so very much. If you are looking for a shorter term investment at a lower cost that provides more options, that would be your alternative. But being clear, that will not be a 40-year project or 40-year product. And we know that. And that's something that you would just be deciding up front.
What is it you're asking from us?
We need to apply for WAMPO.
Bullet points, choose from the 6?
Actually, if you scroll down, there's a motion, but we do need, if you want us to, the biggest thing tonight is what project do we submit for WAMPO because of the deadline for Friday. So if you would like to proceed on a submission to WAMPO, then we would need that motion with the insertion of which project.
Okay.
Back to you at a later time, further discussion. If you, by choosing something other than Seneca on this list, that's telling us you're wanting us to come back, and then we would start having very serious discussions about how to and when to start the bid process to fix Seneca if we're doing it quote unquote in-house.
I'd become,
Ron?
Just question of clarification. So my understanding that we should pick one of these. We do that, we're not going to get any money from WAMPO for the next 10 years because
They don't
they,
fall off the list.
they go that far in planning.
Ron, we're not pulling anything off of the list that we have in the queue. We're just taking one and applying for it. So we're not changing anything that we've done in the way we've done it in the past.
As long as we don't change that.
Right, yeah,
I'm with
no,
it. But if we were just selecting one, no.
right.
The rest will stay in WAMPO's queue. We just elevate one for consideration for the next round of active funding, but the rest will stay.
Ben?
I just want to reiterate, I think we should take care of Seneca sooner. Therefore, that would make the Seneca Bridge or the 69th Bridge the item I would like to put on the WAMPO list.
Is that a motion?
No, I'm just letting everyone know here, in case anybody else wants to discuss it.
Can I add one additional point? I just remembered. I had said earlier I was going to circle back to funding, so I want to make something clear. If you're leaning toward fixing Seneca in-house, we would dedicate that $400,000 that he currently has in his budget. And, you know, if it's $100,000 to $200,000 over that, potentially, we would probably take that out of street cash. Clint and I have been kind of talking about that a little bit, but I just want you to know it will be over the 4 likely, not much. So we'll take the rest out of probably cash reserve. I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Sandra, does that affect our, well, maybe Rodney, our street rehabilitation that we've been trying to ramp up as far as mill and overlay? And does this have anything to do with that?
well,
or is
this would be that.
Okay.
This would be that. So basically, we're trying to pick streets that need
Right.
attention the
Well-
most, and that's basically the strategy we've been having. It's just the fact that, you know, we're finding out some of these streets, mill and overlay isn't the viable option.
Okay.
So you have to go further. So this would be that. And, you know, the calculations that we've done, we're pretty certain the 480 that I have a year will take care of a large portion of what this is going to cost.
Yeah.
Fairly certain.
Gina?
I just would like to reiterate that I think all of these projects are important. We need to do them all, but we can't do them all at once. We don't have that much money. Unless, you know, if anybody wins the lottery, bring it to the city. But I will make that motion that we should apply for WAMPO funding for 27 through 30 for the 69th Street Bridge replacement and take care of Seneca ourselves.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the project. What is that? Is that a project number? BR 25-25 for the WAMPO application?
I don't know if that will stay as the project number, so that will work.
Okay. All right. Is there any further discussion or questions? Have a motion to approve? We do already. Everybody accept the motion, signify raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Thank you, guys. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further questions? All in favor, signify raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to staff reports. Kyle? Nothing? Neil?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple items to bring to your attention this evening. I had a couple of gentlemen that worked for me, their first years pretty much, and they were in the aquatic facility operator class this last week. And that's one of the required classes we have in our for the first year of employment here under their job description, excuse me. And wanted to report that they passed that test with flying colors. So I'm real happy with that. What the aquatic facility operator course does is it prepares them to help operate at the swimming pool. The testing and everything that goes into operating and maintaining that. So real proud of them for getting that passed. Also, we have had an open position in our department for a little while. I'm proud to report that we've got a conditional offer on the table, signed moving forward from there. So hope to have a new employee hired very soon. So anyway, stand for any questions.
Questions? Thank you, Neil. Lloyd? Rodney?
So we did have a Seneca update meeting today, and they're moving right along. All the water line work is done. They were starting to pour some of the color in the middle of the roundabout today. I was out there. The sidewalk around part of the roundabout is in. And Alan Farrington, after the meeting was over, spoke with me a little bit, and he was kind enough to send me some drone photos. And if Clint can help me out, we know we all like pictures. And so he's going to see if he can get those pulled up. There you'll see now, okay, with me here. So
South is
this
up.
is looking
Yeah.
south. There you'll see the bridge is complete. The ramp to the bridge is complete. You'll see the roundabout has been poured, curb and guttering. Working on down south. The road there to the west is a bypass road that the construction people are using. And then you got subgrade put down there. Going on down south, they've already installed much of the stormwater all the way down to the Satara and further entrance. By the way, they're getting very, very close to having that done north now. Now that the gas is done, getting ready to lay down subgrade north. Go to another one. You obviously didn't get a picture of the red in there, but this is on further south where they've been working stormwater and things like that and doing grading. So they're moving right along. Go to some more where they have the roundabout poured. They can see how that's looking. As you can see, all your curb and your center's been poured, stormwater's in. There in the center, well, I want to say around the bullseye, like a dartboard would be where they've started pouring the red in there. That's your apron for your trucks to ride up on. And that'll be red. And then some of those other median areas in there, those will be red as well. You'll see how the sidewalks are poured down around across there, so. Thought that was very nice. Hopefully I can talk him into sending more as he does more of these. It's really, really hard. I've been out there trying to take pictures and you stand there, you have to be about 50 feet tall to take a good picture of a roundabout. It's kind of like trying to take a picture of a crop circle, stand at the edge of a field.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you.
Anything else?
Time for questions.
Any questions? Any comments? Thank you. Those are nice.
That Chris wasn't, he's the one who likes those pictures.
Gage? Barry? Janice?
Evening. I just wanted to let everybody know that we're having a concert at the library Thursday evening. And this is a husband and wife duo that are coming through from Vermont. They go by the name of Hungry Town. And the concert will start at 6:30. So if you can come, please do.
Thank you. Clint?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Good news for you tonight. We did get the ratings yesterday back from S&P, which is the credit rating that has to go. We have to go through a credit rating process every time we take on a bond, which is what Clayton was talking about earlier tonight. There was some concerns, and we were kind of warned that this could possibly be a downgrade situation for us. But we did come back without a downgrade, and we are still at A negative, which is high investment grade rating. We are still in a position much better than most cities in America. So that's fantastic. What that means in dollar and cents terms is when we go out to bid next month to the market, we're going to be able to get very strong interest rates, probably on the tip notes somewhere around the 3% range, and something in the higher threes for the remaining. So that's going to help our debt models out quite a bit. We kind of take a pessimistic view and estimate higher and hope it comes in lower. But in this case, we got really good news yesterday, and I can't understate enough how important that is for the city and how much we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars off maintaining that rating yesterday. Questions for me?
Excellent.
Questions? Thank you, Clint. Christie? Indra?
Couple quick things. You're probably aware, I was not, that Sedgwick County is working on an amendment to the formula for the countywide sales tax. And so I did attend that meeting. WSU is working on some formula options that they're kind of running the different calculations on to see how that proposal would be affected. Basically kind of contending that, since the formula that was set by statute is based upon population and tax levy, it disincentivizes a taxing jurisdiction to lower their levy because essentially then it lowers the sales tax. So they're working on that, and I am participating in those discussions. We've also started discussions with PEC on the Wichita water contract as they're bringing me up to speed, and they're preparing some information for me to look at now. Great folks, by the way. They've done such a good job so far working with them. And then we did have just a little snafu out on the the project with Chisholm Trail. I don't know if you guys have heard about anything like that. But it was just a little bit of a snafu coming together on an elevation and a left turn that had apparently gotten left out in planning. But the school district and the city came together working with our representative engineering teams and other partners, and we were able to find a solution. So I certainly want to thank the school district and commend them for their effort to come to the table and work on that. Each entity ended up with a little bit of correction. Each entity ended up with a little bit of financial obligation on that. On our side, we did kind of remove some kind of honeycomb stamping from the concrete just to offset cost, but we were able to find a solution that satisfies not only the need of what the school had, but hoping to make sure that we have a much safer traffic pattern for the kids and the school buses when the building's open. That's all I have for now. I'll stand for questions.
Any questions? Okay. Moving on to staff reports, governing body reports. I myself, not much except appreciate those guys getting on that water leak Friday night. They were there till 11:30 or later, from what I heard from the neighborhood. So they were pleased about that. And that's all I have. Ron?
Yeah, I've got a few things. One is this month, on the 17th and 18th, we will have a mobile outreach event here from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., which will be out in the parking lot out here. Talked to the gentleman when he's coming in. He's already said that he has some of the equipment that he needs. The only thing he may need is an extra chair or table. Other than that, he's already set and ready to go. On that one, there's some legislative that I've picked up again that should be discussed sometime down the road. One of them is going to be property tax, HB 2745. It's a comprehensive property bill that passed the House at 7645 with several amendments. If you read into it, it's quite a bit of just one of the main things that's being done at the legislative, but they have a bunch of other stuff this year that's unbelievable. Electric fence, new law notice, testimony when you go up there and make an appearance before them. They now have guidelines that you have to follow. In other words, bribe plenty of time. Walk in that building, this could be something else. On that, I like the information that was sent out. Answered quite a few of my questions that I probably had for you tonight. The other thing I was curious about is there's a program called the Silver Compress Senior Support, is to provide compassion for non-medical for seniors at home. And thinking Aaron's technical setup for family calls, family visits to reduce loneliness and rides to appointments. They're looking for volunteers to help out with the families. For some reason, they're running short, and I can understand why. It seems that there's more and more senior citizens in the age of 65 to 95 that is higher here in Valley Center than in surrounding areas. So it might be something we want to consider. Other than that, that's all I have for you.
Okay. Eric?
I hated to miss the last meeting, but my wife had influenza A, and if I left her with 3 little boys, I might not have a wife anymore. But I want to thank, you guys, Rodney and Clint and Cindra for pumping the brakes a little bit and getting us to slow down and look at other options and trying to keep us, financially responsible so we have a future in the city. So I appreciate that, the hard work you guys are putting in.
Ben?
I have nothing.
Gina?
Just a reminder that the Sedgwick County Association of Cities is meeting this Saturday at Wichita State, 8:30 to 10. Try to attend if you can. And daylight saving time starts Sunday. I know.
Jeannie?
I have nothing.
Matt?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further questions or comments? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.